You're watching WKYT News at noon.
And welcome back to WKYT News. Our news continues at 12:30. Kentucky Department of Agriculture inspectors recently discovered a skimmer during a routine inspection at a gas station in Richmond.
Now, skimmer is one of those electronic devices that is used to steal data from credit cards. WKYT's Lauren Miner is tracking the investigation. She joins us now with our top story at 12:30. Lauren?
Most people don't think twice when just swiping their credit card at the pump, but maybe you should be asking the question, where does that information go? The Kentucky Department of Agriculture inspectors discovered a credit card skimmer during a routine inspection of a fuel pump in Richmond, Kentucky earlier this month. The skimmer was removed and turned over to Richmond police. Discoveries such as this one have saved consumers thousands of dollars in fraudulent charges. The KDA is in charge of inspecting these fuel pumps in every retail establishment in the Commonwealth once a year. They check to see if the pump is properly working and if the amount of fuel used matches the amount shown on the pump. KDA says gas pumps are an easy target because they are located out of sight of people working.
Consumers can just be vigilant. They can check if the pumps have security tape, make sure it doesn't say void or hasn't been tampered with. They can look for panels that look to have been pried open. Just things that may look funny, wires hanging out.
If you ever suspect someone is tampering with a pump, be sure to let that retailer know. Also be sure to contact your local law enforcement along with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. Reporting in Frankfort, Lauren Miner, WKYT.
Lauren, thank you. And security experts say losses from credit card skimming are expected to exceed $3 billion globally this year.
A tow truck driver has been killed on the job in Powell County. It happened last night on the Mountain Parkway between Clay City and Stanton. The Clark County coroner says 48-year-old Mark Banks of Banks Towing was loading a vehicle onto a tow truck when another car hit him. Banks died at a Clark County hospital. The coroner says the other driver was taken to the hospital. That person's name and condition have not been released. U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch is in central Kentucky today to raise awareness about heroin overdoses.
Earlier today, she spoke to students at Madison Central High School in Richmond. Health officials are calling the spike in overdoses a public health crisis.
And I want you to think about the fact that last year, just last year alone, in Kentucky, 1,200 people died from opioid abuse and heroin abuse overdoses. Just last year. It's 2 times the number of people that can fit in this room. Imagine if all of you and others to fill the chairs were just suddenly gone.
The Obama administration has named this week National Heroin and Opioid Awareness Week. Lynch is making 2 stops in Kentucky today. After finishing up in Richmond, she'll be taking part in a discussion at the University of Kentucky in Lexington this afternoon.
Lexington police have reissued an alert for 2 fugitives. Arrest warrants are out for Devarius Jones and Taji Winters. Both are considered armed and dangerous. Police say Jones robbed 2 Hibbett sports stores in Lexington earlier this month, and they say both men are wanted for a home invasion in the Masterson Station neighborhood. In that case, police say they held a family at gunpoint.
Lexington police also looking into an early morning robbery at the Rite Aid in Tates Creek Center. Police say a man wearing a surgical mask came into the store about 3 o'clock this morning, flashed a gun, and stole prescription pain pills from that 24-hour pharmacy. Ahmad Rahami, the man suspected in the recent bombings in New York and New Jersey, has been charged with attempted murder, while federal prosecutors are now considering additional charges.
Investigators have been sifting through surveillance video and examining other clues, looking to determine whether Rahami, now in custody in a New Jersey hospital, had broader links in plotting the attacks. A day after the shootout that ended in his arrest, police say there are no signs that the probe has expanded to other possible suspects or groups.
The Justice Department has launched an investigation into an officer-involved killing of an unarmed black man. Newly released dashcam video shows Terrence Crutcher had his hands in the air last before he was shot by a white police officer in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This was back on Friday. Over the weekend, police said Crutcher was told to show his hands but did not follow the police officer's commands.
Attorneys for the couples who sued Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis are seeking more than $233,000 in legal fees. The couple sued Davis after she refused to issue marriage licenses following the ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court upholding same-sex marriage. Davis was jailed for several days after refusing to comply with the court order. The state eventually changed marriage license forms so that clerks' names did not have to appear, and the case was later dismissed. The couple's attorney filed the litigation to recover expenses in federal court. Cosmetics maker L'Oreal says it's building thousands of solar panels into its manufacturing facilities in Arkansas and Kentucky.
The largest to be in Kentucky. The company says that move will help cut carbon emissions while creating two of the biggest solar-powered projects in both states. The subsidiary of L'Oreal Group says it will install 5,000 solar panels at its Kentucky plant up in Florence. The work is expected to begin there later this year. Well, Kmart is closing more stores, including at least one here in Kentucky.
Business Insider reports Kmart plans to close more than 60 stores in 28 states by January. Included in that list is the Kmart in Pikeville. This is the second round of closings by Kmart's parent company this year. Back in April, Sears announced it was closing nearly 70 Kmart stores. 5 Kentucky stores were included in that list.
Well, it's good to have you with us, and coming up, ways to spruce up your home space as your kids move out and you're left with more space to do more things. Also, the Bluegrass Youth Ballet presenting 2 magical shows this weekend.
And why kissing a pig for all the right reasons is a healthy thing to do. That's next on WKYT.
Looking pretty good the next few days and maybe even the next several days. We do have a front on the way towards your weekend. I'm going to show you exactly when that arrives, what that's going to bring us. Any rain in the forecast? I'll have that coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Very popular number at 82 degrees across 64 and back toward the northern zones. It's not all that bad as the humidity is still down, and that is actually fantastic for us the next few days. We did have some fog, and it's trying to lift. It still is lifting and trying to spread on out there in Middlesboro down toward that I-119 corridor, that is, in 25 East. This is coming from Knox County and Laurel County. All in all, it's not a bad looking day in store. 78 degrees right now in Jackson, and Jackson looks just fine. Just those clouds hanging tight. Florence, not all that bad if you're heading northbound. Not seeing any issues there on the roadways. Frankfort across 421 and also sitting there on Main Street. Looking pretty good there in Franklin, or sitting there in Frankfort, that is. Pollen count, everybody dealing with it. It seems like I put this on my Facebook page, and you guys, yeah, you were all talking about sneezing and coughing and just kind of feeling congested. I've been this way for the past 4 or 5 days. I mean, raise your hand if you've been dealing with it. Bam, right here. And I feel like everybody has. Everybody I talk to, I'm like, you kind of sound nasally. And they're like, well, you do too. Ragweed, it's very high the next few days, and that's not changing anytime soon. Reason being, huge zone of higher pressure back toward our west and southwest. That keeps everything dry, everything clear. And that's a problem because you want that rain to come and knock a lot of that out of the air, a lot of that pollen count, knock it down, but it's just not going to happen anytime soon. So on Wednesday, we're sitting there in the upper 80s to around 90 degrees, mostly sunny skies. We'll do it again on Thursday. Now, Thursday's your first day of fall. Does it look like it? No, absolutely not. That's well above average. That's almost 14 degrees above average, 15 degrees in some spots. So that's a big boost of warm air. This is not where we typically are. Typically, we're in the mid to upper 70s. Not anywhere close to that. It's going to be dry each and every single day. 7-day forecast. Not changing anytime soon. Pretty easy forecast all the way throughout your weekend. Your weekend, there is a cold front that's going to be making its way through. This one's going to be a cold front. Last weekend was not a cold front. Last weekend was just, call it a wet front because it didn't bring cold air, and it brought mostly just rain. We're not going to have that. It's going to be totally opposite. So very little chance of rain, more of that cold blasting air come funneling on in. I think a lot of us are okay with that. 77 degrees there on Sunday, guys.
All right, that'll be pleasant, but a 90-degree start to fall? That's
be
pretty
amazing. Here we
well.
go.
All right, pucker up, no problem. That's what 10 local business and community leaders are saying as they lend their time, their talents, and treasure to support the American Diabetes Association Bluegrass.
Here to tell us all about Kiss a Pig are Dr. Dennis Coronas with UK Healthcare and Eric Case, an attorney with EMC Legal and also the corporate chair of this really fun event always. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for
Appreciate it
having
very
us.
much. Eric, this is the third year for Kiss a Pig, and you say it is growing as an event, right?
It is growing. This is our fall fundraiser for the Bluegrass chapter of the American Diabetes Association. We have 10 community leaders, as you said, that come in and try to raise the money to find a cure for diabetes and get money into the hands of people researching for a cure and for treatments for diabetes.
And that's what it's all about, a very important cause. Doctor, I know that UK Healthcare is the event's presenting sponsor. There are a lot of really exciting things going on over at UK's Barnstaple Brown Diabetes Center. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we have all aspects of diabetes care as well as diabetes research. We have a clinical translational science center where you're looking at basic studies on how fat cells react to insulin and things to develop. They're combining molecular biology with bioinformatics to see how insulin resistance develops and things. But also studies on new treatments of diabetes and new medications, new insulins, new injectable and oral medications for diabetes. Also involved in a lot of studies on prevention of diabetes.
Very important here.
600,000 Kentuckians living with it. I mean, this is a big issue in our state, isn't it?
Yeah, the number of people is estimated to have doubled with diabetes in the state, to over 400,000. But then the people with pre-diabetes is probably 1/3 of the population. So it really is a growing problem that needs to be addressed. And so I think the work of the American Diabetes Association really helps to put a focus on this and try to fight this battle.
Eric, I know you have 10 great candidates who are out there wanting to kiss a pig out there. Tell us about them and how people can support these individuals.
Absolutely. So we kicked off a couple weeks ago, and we have some really good names, some real good community leaders. We got Robbie Alvarado, the jockey, coming in this year, Tom Leach, the voice of the Wildcats, Andy Shea with the Legends, Todd Ziegler, the CEO or the local market president for Republic Bank. So we've had a lot of people step up, and people can buy tables to the event. They can donate directly to a candidate. We have some sponsorships left, but we did sell out the last couple of years. So we encourage everyone to jump on the ball as soon as possible.
All right. It looks as though you've chosen a cute pig for the occasion.
Pig L. That was a cute pig that we saw right there.
Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Coming next, 10 community. We're going to have more news coming up for you. Another guest as we
That's
continue.
Right. Magical ballet.
There you go.
So stay with us. Welcome back. Two different stories will come to life on stage as the Bluegrass Youth Ballet performs The Nightingale and the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
And here with a preview, we're joined today by Avali Aranda, director of the Bluegrass Youth Ballet, along with dancers Katie Simon and Maria Siebold. Welcome to all. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
This is going to be a lot of fun. Tell us about the performances.
It is a lot of fun. These performances are very, very fun. So there's two different stories. The Nightingale is a Hans Christian Andersen story, and it's about an emperor, Chinese emperor, that he has never seen or heard this nightingale that they talk about in the forest. So then he sends people to go find it and captures the nightingale to sing for him next to him. And of course the nightingale is really sad to be caged, and then they bring a mechanical nightingale to kind of offset. So there's a little bit of that duality of art versus technology, and it's a really interesting story. And then the other story that we're doing is The Sorcerer's Apprentice, and probably people have recognized this music from like the Mickey Mouse Fantasia, where all the magic goes wrong, and she tries to make the broom do all the chores that she's supposed to do and carry the water, and it just gets out of hand. And
there you go.
We have a lot of fun.
Well, you just happened to bring in the Sorcerer's Apprentice and a nightingale, and it's good to see both of you. What's it like to play this role?
I think it's really fun. I get an opportunity to dance and to act, and there's some onstage combat too, which is pretty fun.
Anna Maria, what about you?
Well, for me, it's mostly like pretending to sing and, having to pretend like how sad it is to like be trapped, and like what it's like to be an artist when you sing. And dancing.
When you get the makeup and all that, you feel the part?
Yes, I feel very bird-like today.
Well, you look the part. Look at it.
It's really good.
That's really good work. How can people enjoy the performance?
Well, we have 2 performances at the Lexington Opera House. There's one on Friday at 7 p.m. and the other one is on Saturday at 3 p.m. and it's awesome for children. It's about an hour and 15 minutes or so, and you can get tickets at 233-3535 or the Ticketmaster.
How many people involved in all of it?
We have almost 100 performers. I think
Wow.
there's about
That's
90.
great.
Yes.
Well, that's an elaborate production, right?
It is, and I promise it's going to be fun for all ages.
Very good. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having us.
And we hope you'll stay with us here on WKYT News.
We're back with more.
Welcome back in. We're glad you're here on WKYT. Are you an empty nester? The kids are all off on their own now, and you're trying to figure out how to use that extra space.
It does happen. Liz Toombs, the owner of Polka Dots and Rosebuds, is here with some great ideas as always. Thank you very much for coming in.
Well, thanks for having me
Appreciate it.
back.
So all of a sudden it is your time now. Have the house the way you want it.
Yep.
How do you take advantage of that extra space?
Well, there's a few things that you can do. One nice use of the space is to create a home office. So whether you're a professional that actually works from home and needs to have that space, or if you just need a place to put your bills and your important documents, just create that. Take a bedroom and turn it into, a office space. You can put in bookcases. You can put in a sofa. It can even be a sofa bed if you need it to be a dual-purpose office and possible guest space. But just think about what your needs are in terms of working, and you can create that space and really make it work for you.
Boy, that's a nice thing. Or what about a full guest room?
Yes, so that's the most obvious, right? To take a child's bedroom, turn it into a guest room, all you really have to do is neutralize. You could put out some different bedding, think hotel collection, that type of look, change the artwork a little bit and just sort of neutralize it, put out some guest amenities, and it looks really nice.
So
for
your
your
kids come
visitors.
home and say, this was my room.
They'll be like, I've been deleted.
If said child and family come back, right?
Yes, yeah.
What are some other practical things that you can
Well, if you're a crafter or someone who has a good hobby, create a space for that. So instead of having your puzzles or your beading crafts thrown on the table, you can get very organized and do things like that, and you can shut a door and walk away from it and not feel like all of your guests have to look at it. But it gives you one dedicated space for some of your creative outlets.
What are some of the big themes that are out there right now, the big colors as we start to change into another season?
Grays are still holding on really strong, and if you're not someone who wants to commit solely to gray, a lot of people feel like it can be cold, stick with a beige gray combination. You're seeing that show up all over the place. Houses going on the market, people updating their space, getting away from those really warm golds, and just richer tones, your browns, your chestnuts, eggplants, things like that really transition you into fall and kind of give you that warm, cozy feeling on the inside.
As people think about it, they're in this empty nest situation, they may think about downsizing. Would you have them maybe just pause a little bit and think about, going forward what their needs may be, about whether or not the family may be coming back from time to time?
I would. As much as someone may not want their child coming back and living in the house, sometimes it happens. So yeah, just stop and think. Live in this scenario for a little bit before you make any rash decisions. I think that's a really good point.
All right, and people can always come out. You've always got great advice at your store.
Yeah, well, I actually don't have a storefront, but I'll come out to people's homes and can meet with them individually and give them personal consults.
And I knew that. I don't know why I put it
well,
that way.
Well, that's okay, yeah.
But
Polka Dots and Rosebuds.com, and she has her polka dots on.
I do.
there she is.
Thank you.
It's always great advice.
Thanks.
Liz came in talking about how, Micah, when you dress right now, in the mornings it's kind of cool, and then by the afternoon, up toward 90 degrees at the end of the week, it's a little challenging.
It's that time of year, and the reason why that is because you have such dry air in place, and that heats up very rapidly during the day, but during the night, that actually cools off very rapidly too. That's what dry air does, and we're going to have that the next few days. That means mornings will be on the cool side, and that does mean afternoons will heat up very quickly, and will actually be really warm toward the afternoons on both Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thursday and Friday being roughly 90 degrees in the forecast, but remember, humidity's way down. Do we have any chance of rain with the new weather data? Well, Chris Bailey, he'll be in here at 4 p.m. He'll get you updated on that.
All right, and that is WKYT News at noon, and we thank you for joining us.
Make it a great day, everybody.